What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the deluxe re-release of Venompool. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Venompool. Let's see what we've got going on. Alright, so we're looking at a deluxe re-release of a previous Build-A-Figure, BAF, right? So, and probably, yeah, it's got to be up there in my favorite BAFs from Marvel Legends. It definitely is, right? It was just such a nice, cool, imposing figure, kind of a random thing, but I loved it. Loved every moment of it. So when we're talking about a re-release, hey, I'm okay with it. I'm here for it. It gives other people an opportunity to get it. If you already have the Build-A-Figure, then no need to worry about it, right? But I do collect a lot of the Deadpool stuff, so I went ahead and got it because I do want to see the differences here. So we got the package. You can see him in there. He looks big, bright, awesome. Nice Deadpool logo there. Marvel Legends Venompool. Flip it to the side. There's your nice artwork image there. That looks pretty good. There's your expanded image on the back. Important information at the bottom. There's your blurb. When Wade Wilson is infected by an extraterrestrial symbiote, he becomes the unstoppable machine Venompool. Pretty cool, right? Flip to that side. You got a logo. You got a logo. Logo on top. Important information at the bottom. Let's get him out of the box. Fresh out of the box, we get a nice, big, bright figure. Even though it is a re-release, right? There's nothing significantly different about this figure, aside from some different paint app on the tongue there and in the mouth. It is brighter red, right? We all know that. What they could have done, maybe paint the nails on this one just to elevate it slightly above the Build-A-Figure. But color-wise, it's going to be tough for me to decide which one I like better related to the overall color scheme. But again, if you missed out on putting together the Build-A-Figure and you do want to add this figure to your display, I would certainly recommend grabbing this one if you're able to. I do understand that the pre-order sold out, but it should be hitting shelves at Target. And in my experience, at least, Target stuff has been typically easier to find than Walmart stuff, so take that for what you will. You do still get the painted areas on there on the suit, so you got all the silver areas painted, the staples, etc., all around the mask and everything. Again, we'll take a closer look, but the tongue certainly stands out as a difference from the Build-A-Figure. All right, let's move it in closer. Move it in closer, we can get a better look at the tongue here. As you can see, a lot more detail packed in. When you look compared to the Build-A-Figure, you can just get some more of that detail. They put a wash over the tongue. It's a slightly lighter purple, and then there's a little bit more inside the mouth as well to highlight the purple areas. So certainly stands out as a big difference. Another area of improvement on the Deluxe was they did paint in some silver areas on the katanas. You can see here on the Build-A-Figure, not so much. The sheath for the katanas does come as a separate piece, as you'll see in the box. It does port on right there. You've got your key, and then you can see the key on that side as well. So you'll just line those up, and then it'll sit on there. You just got to kind of wiggle it a little bit, and at that point it should rest in place on the back there. For your articulation, the head will look down to about there, chin touching the chest, up and back to roughly about there. You'll get some pretty good angle upward. You can certainly move that around side to side. You get a little bit of wiggle, not too much, so you are going to be a little bit limited for your neck motions. The arms will go all the way around, up to about there. Upper bicep cut, single jointed, pinned at the elbow, and then your hinge at the wrist. Ab crunch and a hip swivel. Leg will kick up and out to there, back to about there, up and out to there, upper thigh cut, double jointed, pinned at the knees, nothing at the calf, hinge and swivel at the ankle. As I said, you can see all of the detail still painted in just as it was on the Build-A-Figure. Again, it just would have been nice for them to maybe color in the nails. If they're going to make the improvements on the figure, you might as well make as many of those improvements as you can. But you do get things like the buttons painted in, so I do like that. And I do think the head sculpt came out much better with the added painted detail. Now we can get a good look of both of these side by side to really get a good idea of the main differences. We all know the color, right? It's obviously a brighter red on the Deluxe than it is on the more subdued Build-A-Figure. This is absolutely going to come down to personal preference on which one of these you prefer. With this Deluxe release, possibly you can find the Build-A-Figure at a slightly lower price point than it has been for the last couple of years. So that does kind of broaden your horizons, your options for these figures. I do realize that this Target one, the new Deluxe, did sell out on the orders. However, it is slated to hit stores, hit shelves around October 6th, I believe. So that should hopefully give you a little bit of flexibility in your decisions, understanding that maybe it'll also sell out from the shelves. But they're both out there, so there is something for everyone to pick through and choose from. As far as which one I prefer, I'm still not even sure about that myself. I do find things I like on both of these. However, I am kind of leaning towards the Deluxe re-release. I like the overall brightness of the aesthetic. I like the few added painted additions. So that does elevate it, maybe just enough for me to lean towards that one being my favorite of the two. However, I don't have anything bad about either of these. As I said, both are fine options. Just depends on which one you can get your hands on. And here he is backed up against your Juggernaut Wave Deadpool. Give you an idea of how he backs up against one of your, what I would consider larger built Deadpools. They're all roughly in the same area, but the Juggernaut one does have a little bit more build. And here he is backed up against your 80th anniversary Deadpool to give you an idea of how he's going to be against most of your Deadpools, right? A little bit slender build to this one. So I think aesthetically this looks great. He's going to look great in any sort of Deadpool display. Finally, here he is backed up against the Hulk, so you can get an idea of how he might display against larger figures. Venompool does come in slightly shorter than the Incredible Hulk here. Alright folks, well there you have it. There is your Target exclusive Venompool Deluxe re-release figure, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this one, which one you prefer. If you have either of these, if you have both, which way you're going with these as far as your personal preferences regarding the two options you have for Venompool. Me, I'm only giving a slight advantage to the re-release because of the extra painted areas on the face sculpt as well as the added detail in the katanas. The overall brightness of the red, I like it because it pops, but I don't think it necessarily takes away from the Build-A-Figure release for me. So color, maybe I could take or leave, but I do think it has really nice pop, so I guess I'm good with it, right? So I like the figure. I do think it is worthwhile to get. I don't know that you need to quote-unquote upgrade from your previous release. Again, that just boils down to personal preference. So do what you want with that information. That's the 2 cents, folks. Hopefully you got something out of it. I do appreciate you checking out the video and staying this long if you have. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.